Lyra City, a beacon of science and progress, was home to Aya Mansour. Aya lived a peaceful life. She loved her work as a scientist. Her grandmother Daniel was her best friend. They shared a cozy apartment overlooking the city's vibrant streets. Laughter filled their days. Their bond was unbreakable. Aya's life was a symphony of routine and joy. Her days were spent in her lab. She was working on a groundbreaking energy source. Evenings were for Daniel. They would share stories and dreams over cups of chamomile tea. Life was good. Life was simple. But fate, it seemed, had other plans. The hum of machinery was a lullaby to Aya's ears. She worked late in her lab, chasing a breakthrough. A sudden tremor shook the room. Vials shattered. A strange gas filled the air. Panic surged through Aya. She tried to escape, but it was too late. A sharp pain shot through her hand. A tiny lab mouse exposed to the gas had bitten her. Aya stumbled back, clutching her hand. Dizziness washed over her. She collapsed. The world around her faded to black. Aya woke up in a hospital bed. Daniel sat beside her, her eyes filled with worry. Aya felt strange, different, stronger. She looked at her hand. The bite mark was gone. Had she imagined it all? Days turned into weeks. Aya noticed changes. She was healing faster. Her senses were sharper. One day, lifting a heavy crate in the lab, she realized she was superhumanly strong. Fear gripped her. The gas, the bite, it had changed her. She confided in Daniel. Her grandmother, her rock, listened patiently. She didn't judge. She offered comfort. Together, they decided to keep it a secret. For now, Aya was safe. But for how long? News reports flashed on TV, filling the room with a sense of dread and urgency. Strange creatures terrorized the city, their grotesque forms wreaking havoc wherever they went. Mutated, monstrous, they sowed chaos and fear, leaving destruction in their wake, and turning the city into a war zone. Aya felt a pang of guilt deep within her heart, a gnawing feeling that she couldn't shake off. Was the gas responsible for this? Was she to blame? The questions haunted her every waking moment. One night, a monstrous figure attacked Daniel's apartment building. Fear turned to rage as the creature tore through the structure. Aya knew she couldn't hide anymore. She had to act. She had to confront the consequences of her actions. She had to protect her city, her grandmother, her home. The stakes were too high to ignore. Using her scientific knowledge, she designed a suit, pouring all her expertise and determination into its creation. A suit that would mask her identity, allowing her to fight without fear of being recognized. A suit that would enhance her abilities, making her stronger, faster, and more agile than ever before. The suit was black, sleek, and agile, designed for both stealth and combat. It resembled a mouse, a tribute to the creature that had given her these powers. Mouseguard was born, ready to defend the city from the darkness that threatened to consume it. Section 5. Shadows in Lyra. The city of Lyra, always alive with energy, was now cloaked in an unsettling darkness. The news spread like wildfire. Everyone was talking about the sudden rise in crime and the mysterious vigilante who had appeared out of nowhere. Mouseguard, the mysterious savior, was fighting back. He moved through the shadows, striking fear into the hearts of criminals. Aya felt a surge of pride. She had always believed in justice, and now, seeing Mouseguard in action, she felt a renewed sense of purpose. But she knew this was just the beginning. The creatures were organized. Someone was controlling them. The darkness in Lyra was not just a random occurrence. Her investigation led her to Dr. Victor Kane, a disgraced geneticist. He had once been a respected scientist, but his unethical experiments had led to his downfall. Kane had been experimenting with the same energy source as Aya. This energy was powerful, capable of both great good and immense evil. He had created the creatures, mutated them for his own twisted purposes. These abominations were his army, his means to an end. He wanted to control Lyra. His ambitions were vast and his methods ruthless. Aya knew she had to stop him. She couldn't let his dark vision for Lyra come to pass. But Cain was always one step ahead. He was cunning, always anticipating her moves. He knew about Aya, about her powers. He had been studying her, learning her strengths and weaknesses. He had been watching her, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. The battle for Lyra was just beginning, and Aya knew it would be a fight to the end. Section 6. A desperate plea. The phone rang. It was Daniel. Her voice was frantic. Cain's creatures were attacking her apartment. Aya's heart pounded in her chest. She had to get to Daniel. She had to save her. Mouseguard raced through the city streets. Buildings crumbled around her. The air was thick with smoke and fear. Aya pushed herself harder, her fear fueling her every step. She could hear Daniel's screams in the distance. They were getting closer. Cain was toying with her, making her watch as he threatened the one person she loved most. This time, it was personal. Section 7. Clash of Courage. The apartment building was in ruins. Aya could see Daniel on the top floor, trapped. A monstrous figure stood before her, a mutated chimpanzee, its eyes glowing with malice. Cain's masterpiece. Mouseguard launched herself at the creature. The impact shook the building. The chimpanzee roared, its teeth bared in a snarl. Aya dodged its blows, her movements swift and precise. She had to be smart. She had to use her agility to her advantage. She lured the creature towards the edge of the building. With a final, powerful kick, she sent it plummeting into the darkness below. The roar echoed through the night, then silence. Section 8. A Guardian's Resolve. Aya rushed to Daniel's side. Relief washed over her as she found her safe. They embraced, the terror of the night fading into the background. They were alive. They were together. As the sun rose, casting its golden rays over the devastated city, Aya knew her work was far from over. Cain was still out there. He would strike again. But Aya was ready. She was Mouseguard, the protector of Lyra. She had a responsibility to this city, to its people. But most importantly, she had a responsibility to Daniel. She would never let anything hurt her again. Never again. Section 9. The Weight of Duty. Life had changed. Aya was no longer just a scientist, she was a symbol of hope, a beacon in the darkness. The people of Lyra looked up to her. They needed her. The weight of their expectations was heavy, but Aya wouldn't let them down. She trained harder, honed her skills, and improved her suit. She studied Cain's methods, learning his weaknesses. She would be ready for him. The city had become her responsibility. She patrolled the streets at night, a silent guardian watching over her people. Every saved life, every thwarted attack, fueled her resolve. She was their shield, their protector. She was Mouseguard. Section 10. A moment of respite. Even heroes needed a break. Aya cherished the quiet moments with Daniel. They were a reminder of what she was fighting for, a reminder of the life she was protecting. They would sit on their balcony, sipping tea, watching the city lights twinkle below. They wouldn't talk about the dangers, the fear. They would talk about books, about dreams, about the future. These moments were precious. They were a reminder that even in the darkest of times, there was still light, there was still love, and that was worth fighting for. Section 11. The Unending Battle. The fight continued. Cain was relentless. He unleashed wave after wave of mutated creatures, each one more terrifying than the last. But Aya stood firm. She fought with courage, with intelligence, with unwavering determination. She had faced down giant spiders, monstrous bats, and even a mutated lion. Each battle took its toll. She was wounded, exhausted, but never broken. She couldn't afford to be. The city was depending on her. She knew this was a battle she might never win, but she would never stop fighting. As long as Cain threatened Lyra, as long as people lived in fear, Mouseguard would be there. Section 12. A Hero's Promise. Aya looked out over the city, her eyes scanning the horizon. The city of Lyra, once vibrant and bustling, now bore the scars of countless battles. Scars of battles past were visible everywhere, but so was hope. Amidst the ruins, new structures were rising, symbolizing the resilience of its people. The people of Lyra were rebuilding, their spirits unbroken. They worked together, hand in hand, determined to restore their home to its former glory. They had Mouseguard to thank for that. Her bravery and leadership had inspired them to keep going, even in the darkest of times. Aya knew her journey was far from over. Each day brought new challenges, but she faced them with unwavering resolve. The fight for Lyra was a marathon, not a sprint. But she was ready. She trained tirelessly, honing her skills and preparing for whatever lay ahead. She was Mouseguard, and she would protect her city. No matter the odds, she stood as a beacon of hope and strength. She had made a promise to herself, to Daniel, to the people of Lyra, a promise forged in the fires of adversity, a promise to fight for what was right, to stand up against injustice and defend those who could not defend themselves, a promise to protect the innocent, to be their shield and their sword, their guardian in times of peril, a promise to be the hero they needed, to be the light in their darkest hour, the hope when all seemed lost. And she would keep that promise no matter the cost. For Aya, for Mouseguard, the fight for Lyra was a fight for the very soul of the city.